rounds, and then ultimately, of course, he's fighting.
All right, buckle up, because this is one of those stories where size, power, and pure fear all collide at once. Picture this for a second. You're standing in a boxing ring. The lights are hot. The crowd is loud.
Oh, that's about it.
And across from you isn't some ripped, shredded heavyweight with movie star abs. No, across from you is a walking wall of mass, nearly 500 pounds of human pressure. A man who looks slow, looks awkward, looks almost harmless, until he throws one punch. And when that punch lands, fights don't just end, careers end. Consciousness disappears. That man is Butterbean, and today we're diving deep into what happens when 500 pounds hits you. This isn't about clean boxing technique. This isn't about footwork clinics or jab mastery. This is about raw impact. This is about moments where one punch rewrote the entire night. This is about Eric Butterbean Esch and the brutal knockout moments that made him one of the most feared short fight specialists boxing has ever seen. Butterbean didn't look like a fighter. That's the first thing everyone noticed. He didn't move like a heavyweight champion. He didn't train like one either, at least not in the traditional sense. But what Butterbean had was something that can't be taught, can't be drilled, and can't be faked. He had unnatural punching power, the kind of power where even blocked shots still hurt, the kind of power where glancing blows still dropped people, the kind of power where opponents would step into the ring already defeated in their minds. They called him the king of the 4-rounders for a reason. Butterbean didn't need 12 rounds. He didn't need strategy adjustments. He didn't need to download data or figure you out. His entire game plan was simple. Walk forward, cut the ring, throw bombs, and eventually something would land. When it did, the fight was usually over. One of the clearest examples of that terrifying reality came when Butterbean stepped in against George Lindberger. Lindberger wasn't some random guy off the street. He had a solid record. They called him the Terminator. He came in confident, believing he could weather the storm, but the problem with fighting Butterbean is that storms don't always last long. The bell rang. 19 seconds later, the fight was over. One punch, one clean connection. Lindberger collapsed like his legs had been unplugged. He wasn't just knocked down, he was gone. Referees rushed in. The crowd exploded, and Butterbean did what he always did. Calmly turned around, barely breathing hard, as if nothing had happened. That's the kind of knockout that sends a message to the entire division. Not just, I beat this guy, but I can end you before you even start. And that theme repeated itself again and again. Take Ken Woods. Woods came in knowing exactly who Butterbean was. Everyone did by that point. Woods' plan was simple. Survive, move, don't get hit clean. And to his credit, he tried. He ran, he circled, he tied up, he made it through the first round. But you can't run forever in a boxing ring. Eventually, the ropes close in. Eventually, your legs slow down. Eventually, you have to stop. When Butterbean caught him, it was violent. A right hand crashed through Woods' defense and sent him straight down. Not just down, but hard. His head snapped off the canvas in a way that made everyone watching wince. That's the thing with Butterbean knockouts. They weren't pretty. They weren't flashy. They were blunt, heavy, unforgiving, like getting hit by a car instead of a punch. And then there was Patrick Graham. On paper, this looked like another routine defense. Graham was less experienced, but hungry. He tried to box smart early. The first round passed without fireworks. Some fighters might get frustrated. Butterbean didn't. He just waited. In round 2, he turned it up. A clubbing right hand dropped Graham to the canvas. Graham survived, but surviving a Butterbean knockdown is often worse than getting knocked out clean. Because once Butterbean smells weakness, he doesn't stop. By round 3, one thunderous right hand sent Graham flying through the ropes, literally out of the ring. The referee had no choice. Fight over. Another opponent physically removed from the battlefield. That visual became a pattern. Fighters didn't just lose to Butterbean, they were launched, thrown, expelled. Tim Bergen learned that lesson next. Bergen was decent, competent. He boxed carefully in the first round. Butterbean stalked him, watched him, pressured him, and in the second round, Butterbean opened up. One big right hand froze Bergen. His body collapsed before his brain even caught up. Mouthpiece out, eyes vacant, fight finished. Every time Butterbean won like this, the legend grew, and so did the fear. George Clark stepped in knowing the odds. Everyone did. Clark was outmatched in every category that mattered against Butterbean. Size, power, experience. The fight didn't last long. Clark went down once, got up, went down again. Then one final shot sent him tumbling out of the ring. The crowd erupted. Butterbean smiled. Another job done. What made these knockouts so shocking wasn't just the power, it was the contrast. Butterbean didn't look fast, he didn't look athletic, he looked almost cartoonish, and that made it worse, because opponents would underestimate him. They'd think, I can handle this, and then reality would crash into them at full force. Sean, the killer gorilla Jay Gann, found that out the hard way. Undersized and already at a disadvantage, Jay Gann tried to stand his ground. Butterbean charged forward like a freight train. Every punch shook Jay Gann, and when the right hand finally landed clean, it dropped him instantly. Head bounced. Fight stopped. Another first-round knockout added to the collection. Butterbean's fights followed a familiar script. The opponent would show courage, maybe land a jab, maybe even have a decent first minute, and then the hammer would fall. Troy Roberts tried to change that script. Taller, more intimidating physically. Roberts survived the early rounds. He stood his ground, he traded, and for a moment it looked like Butterbean might be pushed into deeper waters. But Butterbean didn't panic. He waited, and in round 3, he flipped the switch. One knockdown. Roberts got up, then Butterbean finished him. Win number 39, stoppage number 30. The king of the 4-rounders kept his crown. Go back even earlier, and you'll find Paul Springer, a powerlifter, strong, massive, confident. But boxing strength and punching power are not the same thing. Butterbean needed less than a minute. One clean shot lifted Springer off his feet. Fight over, that's it. Doug Norris, athletic, built, confident, one punch, done. Ed White might be one of the most telling examples. 6'6", long reach, never been knocked out. White used his length early. He had success. Butterbean was getting hit. Then round 2 came. One right hand knocked White down so hard it knocked the referee off balance too. White got up. He shouldn't have. Butterbean followed with a left-right combination that sent White tumbling out of the ring. Another man ejected from the fight. By the time Butterbean faced Peter McNeely, the reputation was cemented. McNeely tried to smother him, tried to overwhelm him, tried to survive. None of it worked. Butterbean's punches broke through. McNeely froze. The referee stepped in. Another first-round finish. Jackie Beard tried to be slick, tried to be confident, tried to showboat. Butterbean erased that confidence with one right hand. Beard went down and didn't move. Luis Monaco rushed in with muscles and bravado. Butterbean knocked him down. Monaco stood up into another punch. Then another. 3 knockdowns. Fight over. Just like that. This is why Butterbean became a cult icon. He wasn't polished. He wasn't elegant. But he was honest violence. When he hit you, you felt it. When he hit you clean, you didn't feel anything at all. And that's the terrifying truth of Butterbean's career. When 500 pounds hits you, it's not just a punch. It's momentum. It's mass. It's physics working against your body. Your neck can't brace fast enough. Your legs can't react in time. Your brain shuts off before your hands ever drop. Butterbean didn't need 12 rounds to prove he was dangerous. He needed one opening, one mistake, 1 second. And that's why his knockouts still live on today. Because they weren't about finesse. They were about force. So the next time someone jokes about Butterbean's size or laughs at his appearance, remember this: every man who stepped into the ring with him thought the same thing at first, and most of them left on their backs, staring at the lights, wondering what just hit them. Because when 500 pounds hits you, there is no plan B.